to deal with a violent regime non-violently, because we strongly believe that non-violence is stronger and better, but most importantly, that can deliver us to the overcoming of arms. We want the people to defeat the guns. We can only do that without violence, so that we demystify violence. I don't know if I'm relating with your question very well.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
Prince
so,
Crippler, please go ahead. Mhm.
yeah, yes,
Yes.
you are. But I wanted to know, how are you transforming 47 million? As Anil has said, we watch you grab put in jail, we watch you bury your friends, your supporter, we watch you. How have you been able to continue this and continue to transform? What is the road ahead? That's in a nutshell I'm asking. Yes.
Honestly, I cannot tell you that this is the blueprint of how we do it, because we don't plan it, and we cannot say this is how we stand it. We just live it. It's a reality for us. It is our life. Today you are free, tomorrow you are in jail. One day you have your friends with you, the next day they are abducted and they're being tortured. It just happens. We just pray to God, and also believe that if we don't give up, ultimately our enemy will break. So we just take every day the way it comes. We don't draw a plan, because there's no way. If we could draw a plan, the best plan would be to run away. That is the best plan. The smartest idea is to run away from this. But since, like I said in the beginning, we are desperate, we don't have any option other than facing it. So we face it the way it comes.
Okay. So, Prince Crippler, go ahead. Let's hear your one question, then we'll move ahead to the next person.
Okay, thank you, Sekou. Bobby, you you were elected to the Ugandan parliament, as you've confirmed,
Yeah.
and you served from 2017 to 2021.
Yeah.
You and your movement wants to, I mean, replace the current president and the National Resistance Movement Party that have been in power for about 39 years now. My question is, what can you point to being a member of parliament that should be the verge for Ugandan people to say, yes, we think Bobby is in a better position to do better than the current national resistance movement of the current president?
Thank you very much. Although your question sounds as if you're asking a guy in France or in England, say, okay, you went to parliament, what policies did you present, did you pass, and all that. I want to paint a picture for you in Uganda, that the military general that is in power in Uganda has ruled the country on the barrel of the gun for 40 years. He has his son as the head of the military. You must have seen, if you're observant about Uganda, you must have seen his son, tweeting images of my friends that are being held under his basement and are going tortured. His wife is a minister for education, leave alone the fact that she's not educated. His relatives run the national banks, the national institutions, and all that. The parliament is family in the pocket of the general. So there's not so much that you can do. What our country needs is a revolution. Here we are with laws that are not even respected, because yes, we pass laws, but our problem is not bad laws. Our problem is the impunity. So when I went to parliament and realized that, I started agitating from the parliament. As soon as I went to parliament, there was a bill that was seeking to extend General Museveni's hold onto power forever, since there was a cap on the age limit of 75 years that General Museveni was not going to be able to pass until they changed the constitution. Now, I went into parliament as an activist, and I made a resolve. while in Parliament, where I spent 3 years, I made a resolve that the ultimate solution is put an end to the rulership. And maybe if I'm to give an outline of our alternative policies, that will take quite a lot of time for this show. I'll only say that our mentality now is a mentality of a slave who wants to break free from the chains, but then their fellow slave or a slave from another country is asking them now, if you want to run away from the slavery, what are your policies? What are your alternatives when you leave master's house? Our first intention is to break free so we can be able to decide for ourselves. Numerous proposals, numerous alternatives, numerous policy alternatives have been presented, but they can't see this light of the day because the currency is corruption, the currency is impunity. The main objective of the government is to stay in power, and everything else is a detail. That is the situation in Uganda, and I believe in many other parts of Africa.
Anel, please go ahead. Let's hear your question to Bobby.
So our leader, Bobi Wine of Uganda, as employment is a major impact on stability and independency, when you are elected president of Uganda, to what extent are you willing to go to create job opportunity?
I'm sorry, ask it again. If I'm elected president of Uganda?
It said, as employment is a major impact on stability and independency, when you are elected president of Uganda, to what extent are you willing to go to create job opportunities for your people of Uganda?
Thank you very much. I'm willing to go to every extent, but our focus is on two things, maybe many others, but in the line of employment, first we want to look at health and we want to look at education and then maybe infrastructure. Why? We want to keep our people, especially the young people, healthy so they can be a productive human resource. And then we want to educate and re-educate them. Majority of our young people are not only unemployed, but they are unemployable. We want to make them employable. We want them to make them explore themselves. We want them to make them study and understand their surroundings so they can be productive in their own surroundings. In our education system, our proposed education system, we're looking at 4 A's, and that's the academics, the arts, the athletics, and agriculture. In the case of Uganda, we were once and can once again be the breadbasket of the Great Lakes region. That agriculture is our biggest employer. Unfortunately, now it has been muzzled up and owned by a few people. The regime keeps, monopolizing the biggest employing crops. Talk about coffee, which was taken over recently, cotton, vanilla, tobacco, and many others. So when we mechanize that agriculture, but most importantly, throw back the agricultural economy to the people, it would employ so many young people. Going back to our education, we want to educate people that are employable, job creators. We want to skill them right from the lower level so that we don't have this kind of colonial education that we have where a university leaver, a young person leaves university and they cannot even create something. We want to emulate the kind of education that is had in China, India, and many other countries. That will help create more employment opportunities. But also we want the natural resources of the nations to be brought back to the population to benefit populations, not to only benefit foreigners like it is in the case of Uganda.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you.
Delano
Yes,
Tamatsa, let's hear you. From there, we go to Samuel Jacob,
sure.
followed
Yeah,
by Delano Brian, then Samira. Please go ahead.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Let me just say thanks to the honorable man, Bobi Wine, I'm more concerned about the next coming elections. I think I believe 2026 will be the general election. And the current president, Museveni, has announced that he'll be contesting, having been there since, I think, 1986 up to current. To the leader, Bobi Wine, are you contesting? If yes, what are your preparations?
Thank you very much. Allow me to take you a little bit back in 2021 and remind you that I contested, and it is clearly known that we defeated General Museveni by a substantial margin. Unfortunately, I was put under house arrest. Many of my campaign team were arrested, and many are still in prison. A few were killed, and General Museveni, after switching off the internet and deploying military on the street for weeks, declared himself winner. In many ways, that's what we expect and more. As we speak now, the abductions are on the rise. As we speak now, violence is on the rise. I'm always followed and all that. But yes, I am contesting. Why? Number one, to maintain the legitimacy, because we chose not to just leave it to General Museveni. It is known that dictators, especially here in Africa, tend to even create their own convenient opposition. And it has happened. Many pseudo opposition groupings have been presented to make it comfortable for General Museveni. And many of them have actually criticized us for not accepting to talk to General Museveni. Although we always make it clear that, like Mandela taught us, only free men negotiate. You cannot have somebody put your boot on your neck and then say you negotiate. But that's not the position held by the pseudo opposition groupings. Why? Because General Museveni, like many other dictators, have always thrown around money to fight the people that want their fall. Now, we expect more aggression. We expect more violence. We expect more imprisonment. But again, we know that our people, especially young people, are even more charged. They want to resolutely reject General Museveni on the ballot paper and then push him to a corner where he has no way out. But like Yahya Jammeh and many other dictators will have to step aside under pressure. We are not expecting General Museveni to hand over power peacefully and honorably, even when we defeat him by 80 or 90%. However, we want to earn the victory, and therefore we shall demand and fight for the victory, having earned it. You cannot fight for what you've not earned. We want the people to go to the polls so that the people have reason to stand firm and reject the usurpation of their power.
Okay, so Samuel Jacobs.
Oh, Bobby Wine.
Yes.
Just from what you said about imprisonment, I just want to draw my questions from that analysis, because Uganda is one country that I actually paid attention to from the struggle, from the 1830, from the day of the Arab to Milton Obote in 1962. Now, when we speak of democracy, you had just two past leaders from 1962, Obote to Amin in 1979. That's a whole country with 62 years old can boast of two former leaders. That contradiction to democracy. But there's my fear for you. When I listen to you, like I listen to Robert Mugabe. When I listen to you, I listen to Thomas Sankara. If I listen to you like a Patrick Lumumba, I listen to you, I see Kwame Nkrumah in you. When I listen to you, I listen to the voice of Sekou Touré. But my issue is, what strategies are you going to use to differentiate yourself from the great revolutionary? My second international college to support that will be, what is your own view with the struggle we're going through when it comes to the RCC, like taking African leaders to the Hague, RCC International Court, or how do you view sanctions on African leaders? Don't forget, Nelson said it, it was said by Kwame Nkrumah, when African revolutionary leaders are preaching revolutionary struggle for African independence, when they take power, the Western culture will bring sanctions, RCC, to demonize the struggles of a black man. What different can you do to allow Africa can succeed? Because I see Africa transformation in you. So I just want you to speak to the RCC. I want you to speak to sanctions on African leaders, because I see you are one of the greater potentials in moving African struggle forward.
Thank you very much, my brother. Just a slight correction. Uganda, since independence, has actually never had a peaceful transfer of power. You know, everyone is shooting themselves into power and they're shot out of power. I'm really flattered once again to be compared to the great leaders like Thomas Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, um, Robert Mugabe. Indeed, I draw inspiration from them. Even General Yoweri Museveni, when he was my age, he was speaking just like I am speaking, more eloquently than I'm speaking. These are guys that inspired us. I was named after Robert Mugabe. Did you know that? He was a great revolutionary. It is only disappointing that they always turn, not always, but some of them have turned into, despised
Something else.
despots. It makes me imagine if Kwame Nkrumah was to live up to 60, if Thomas Sankara was to live up to 60, what would we see? Because General Museveni, in 1986, wrote a book called What is Africa's Problem? And is famously quoted to have said, the problem with Africa, the problem with Uganda in particular, and Africa in general, are the leaders that overstay in power. This is a guy that has been in power for 40 years now. He's 84, but he's trying to limp his way to the ballot box again. It worries me, even myself. It makes me not trust my own self. I keep wondering, am I going to turn around and eat my own words? Am I going to be like these once amazing, eloquent, intelligent, and purportedly patriotic Africans? What happened to them? Did they all of a sudden believe that Africa stopped producing, that they were the last breed of thoughtful Africans and all that? But again, it serves as a lesson to remind me that the first thing that we should do to change that forever is to empower people. I take examples from the Europeans and Americans, and I know that their countries don't develop or are governed well because the leaders are so nice and so noble. No, it is because their people have been empowered not to take any nonsense from leaders. And that is what I believe we must do to our people, especially the young people, to hold leaders accountable, to say, no man, cut the crap whenever the leaders trying to bring their nonsense. That is the only way we're going to make leaders accountable to the people. The solution to our problem is to have servant leadership, where leaders will be scared of messing with their people. In that case, they will not mortgage our countries to the West. They will not sell our minerals because we shall be land enough, we shall be awakened, we shall be able to put them on spot. All that happens when people are empowered to remove leaders and bring leaders to power. If a leader knows that it is the people that brought him or her to power, then a leader will think twice before they abuse power, before they do things that don't benefit their people. And that way, the people will be benefiting. That's my view.
Okay, so we go to Delano Bryant. From there, we go to Samira.
Bobby, I have a brilliant question to ask you. I've listened to you explaining very well. And my question to you, if you were elected as president today for Uganda, what will you do different from the current president?
I would say everything, but the first would be to demystify the presidency, to reduce the powers of the presidency, to have independent institutions, to have separation of powers, to put an end to militarism, to, I believe, everything different. I would be the direct opposite of General Museveni because I would not cling to power, number one. There would be free and fair elections. I would not, I would release all political prisoners and ensure that the judiciary is independent and does not operate at the calling of the executive. I would cut corruption because now corruption in Uganda is a currency, is a way of survival for the regime. I would put an end to that. So precisely, I would be the opposite of the current regime.
Samara, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Bobby Wine. My question to you is: you have spoken of power to the people or people power in Uganda.
Yeah.
Do you see this movement resonating in other African countries? And also to support that, do you feel that there is enough solidarity among opposition movements across African nations?
Thank you. Do I see Papa people power moving across Africa? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Look at this. Have you looked in Kenya in the past days? That should show
Mm,
you people power. Um, we are challenged in Uganda because we live in an absolute dictatorship. The last time our people protested on the streets when I was unfairly imprisoned, more than 150 were mauled. They were shot to death. So yeah, we live under different circumstances in Uganda, but we are trying to, give them confidence, and we know sooner or later people will rise. You asked about the unity, possible unity with among
opposition movement.
opposition movements in Africa. I will not
Yeah.
only look at opposition movements. Not everybody in opposition is my friend in Africa, and not everybody who is in government is my enemy. It is not a matter going to power. So for me, it's not a matter of whether being in opposition or being to power. No, it's a matter of values and principles. What do they stand for? I would stand with them. If they stand for something I don't stand for, even if they're in opposition, I would not agree with them. And if they stand for something that I stand for, then maybe I would agree with them. So yeah, our collaboration does not depend on who is in opposition or who is in government, but as long as you believe in servant leadership, as long as you believe in democracy, as long as you believe in human rights and the rule of law, as long as you believe in Pan-Africanism and true African independence, then you are our friend. And if you believe in the opposite, then the opposite is true. So yeah, that is how it is with us.
Okay.
Now, people in Uganda think that opposition political institutions are not united. So at the end of the day, the current president will always have his way through as the way things are happening in the country. How united are you opposition leaders or opposition political institutions in Uganda?
Uh, I've been saying it. Well, it is not politically correct for me to say I'm not a politician, but honestly, I don't want to be called a politician. And I did not come to deal with politicians, I came to deal with ordinary people. Like I said, we want to take politics away from the ordinary politicians. We want the common people, to take the politics because they are the ones that are affected. There is the political elite that have always presented themselves and purported to decide and think for the common people, only showing up every 5 years electro for electioneering. In the ghetto, people tend to call them electropreneurs. Now, that is not what we think. We came to disrupt the situation. Does not matter about the politician. This is not a business of political parties where a few people form a political party and another group forms a political party and another group forms a political party. So they come together and say, oh, now and then the regime wants them to give legitimacy. We are here to disrupt things, and we will work with anybody that wants an overhaul in this. Therefore, it is not about a few politicians uniting and making declarations. It's about the common people taking charge. In this, our revolution, it might be a democratic, non-violent revolution, but it is a revolution where we are upsetting the status quo, where we want the woman that sells charcoal on the market stall and the young man that drives Okada or Boda Boda, and the young boy that is working in a barber shop, and the military general, and the member of parliament, all have an equal say in the political matters of a country. We can achieve that, and we want to achieve that. So this is not going to be a situation where only the politicians have a say. Everybody is going to have a say, and that say is going to be equal. In this era of TikTok, of internet, of social media, everybody has a voice, and their voice is heard. Many ordinary bloggers are heard more than the politicians, and we want their voice to be heard for as long as that voice represents a substantial amount of people. So yes, it's not about only political players coming together, it's about the population coming together.
The arrests, Bobby Wine, the beatings, being shot at what point do you sit and think that this is just too much for a one person, a young person going through all these things, depriving you of a lot of things? At what point have you reached to think that it is just too much for you?
That point reached a long time ago, my brother. That point reached in 2018 when I was abducted and put in a military detention and tortured beyond control. And everything horrible happened to me. But guess what? I came out alive. My time to break reached, and I did not break. So that time passed, and I don't think about that time again. We're moving forward regardless.
How relevant, Bobby Wine, you think you are still with the young people of Uganda? We're moving towards the elections. And I'm going to ask you another question, but I just want to know how relevant are you still with the young people of Uganda?
It is not me who has to be relevant. It doesn't matter whether or not I'm relevant. The question should be, how relevant is the struggle for freedom? Does it still have a meaning? Is it still worth going for? It's not about me, and I never want to make it about me because I don't know how long I'm going to live. I don't want to give it to the regime. It will be so dangerous to make it about me, to make the relevance about me. That is empowering the enemy. That means if they take me out, then everything crumbles. But now it's not about me, and I keep telling the young people, anybody in Uganda, in Africa, can be a Bobi Wine, and we must multiply ourselves as quick as possible, so that even when they stop one of the many others keep going. So it's not about my relevance. It's about the relevance of the cause. How relevant is this cause? It gets more relevant every day because everybody's eyes keep opening. We always tell Ugandans that everybody will test the misrule and the oppression. And it happens every day. You know, many are arrested, many are cheated, many die in hospitals. So there's an awakening of everybody. Something happens every now and then, and people get the realization and they wake up and smell the coffee and know they have to fight and change this. So, yes, the relevance is on the cause, not on me.
But has that been, or is there any danger that you yourself, looking at what you said about the president, could be linked to you any of looking at the 2025 and moving to the election in Uganda, where it has been speculated, it has been tweeted by the current president's son, which point to a clear indication that he might likely took over from his father based on the current, according to you, dictatorial leadership being carried out in Uganda.
Please ask the question again. I'm sorry.
So I'm asking you, what is it about the tweet from the president's son? Is it a sign that he might likely take over from his father, looking at the current leadership in the country as it has been termed by you? You have a dictatorial leadership in the country where it is now a peaceful or democratically elected government as the way it should be.
Yeah, we must know that General Museveni is there about 84 years of age or thereabout. And nature has no substitutes. You can see it from him and the way he does the things he does. And we must also note that his son has largely taken over the powers because he heads the military and all, you know, institutions of coercion, and he uses them at his disposal. You must have seen him tweet about, I mean, undermining women, wanting to cut off my head. He has abducted people and taken pride and fun in it. He right now, as we speak, my bodyguard, my personal bodyguard, who is my friend, is in prison, but very badly tortured after being abducted by the General Muhoozi Museveni's son, who's the head of our military, and torturing him from his basement, and all those kinds of things. What does that show? That does not show strength. It shows weakness. It shows a little girl inside this huge man with a mustache, deranged and disillusioned, and thinking that terror and intimidation and violence is what's going to silence people like myself. We overcame. We defeated his father. We can defeat him too. Of course, it's worrying. I mean, being in a country where torture is a way of subjugation, where the head of the military tortures for fun and puts that on social media for entire world to see. By now, it is supposed to be horrifying to all of you Africans to see a head of a military that picks people and tortures them, threatens to kill people, and indeed people go missing. That is where we are as a nation. But I must tell Africa and the world that that does not stop us. We shall keep fighting. We shall get our freedom, or we shall die trying to get our freedom.
Now, one of your drivers in the past was killed during this entire process, and you standing strong, very firm, pushing for the presidency of Uganda. Seeing some of the arrests being taking place in the country, people are being placed behind bars, going to the legal process is very difficult for them. Bobby Wine, what are you doing about all these things happening to your supporters? And sometimes when you see some of these things on social media, it is very discouraging as to their health conditions.
Yeah, it's terrible, I must say. It's terrible. I get only motivated by the words, the writings, and the words of great people that came before us. Like I said, I'm reminded that people have gone through worse. There was a woman called Harriet Tubman who was freeing slaves in America, who said, you know, she freed 1,000 slaves. She could have freed more only if they knew they were slaves. So yeah, our people, we struggle by to remind them that they are slaves. There's nothing to lose other than their chains. But also, you have mentioned, yes, there's so much we go through. How we keep? How do we not get broken? We just keep going. That same Harriet Tubman told his followers that when you hear the dogs, keep going. When you hear the shoutings, keep going. When you hear the fired bullets, keep going. Keep going if you want to taste the sweet scent of freedom. So we just keep going regardless. Because we know if we stop, we are finished. But if we keep going, then we might have a chance to life.
Okay, so let's hear you, Prince.
All right. Uh, Thank you so much, Sekou, and let me thank Bobby Wine for extensive deliberation. But my question is, what is your current stand on the same-sex or gay marriage? The reason I ask this question is that research have it that you were invited to a musical concert in London, 2 cities in London. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And then your performance were canceled on account of the anti-gay nature of one of your song lyrics.
Are you done with your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I mean, now we are here. It surprises me among the questions why I'm not being asked about our Congolese brothers or our Sudanese brothers that are dying. Why we are not being asked about the lives of the pregnant women that we lose every day. The gay business is not part of our agenda, and it's not what I want to give most of this program. I think we should focus on what affects the majority. Besides, that's a controversial topic that we have had, that we've not had a solution about. So why don't we major on things that we think everybody is going to get involved on and should really be our primary focus?
Okay. Okay. So, Cynthia Sandy, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Bobby Wine. Thank you again for being here. As a mother, as an advocate, as a teacher, I'm a teacher of history and science, middle grade in the United States. I can teach from kindergarten to 12th grade. So I've learned history extensively. When I hear somebody like you, as a mother, first and foremost, and as a Black woman, my heart aches. You spoke earlier when you said, I am scared. Okay. And I want to commend you for keep going, because courage is not in the absence of fear. You got to keep going. Because we would not have gotten Dr. King. We would not have gotten Mandela. We would not have gotten Gandhi. Okay. Yeah. And today we wouldn't have Toure, and he's pushing forward. But and I also love when you say I'm a disruptor. My question to you at this point, in this turn of century, right? And also when you said, I don't make this revolution, it's about me. It's about the ideology. It's about dignity. It's about freeing our people and uniting Africa and making sure our young people are dignified, that we have true independence. So here's my question to you. In this modern time, in 2025, you talk about technology, you talk about agriculture, all right? As a where do you see the next phase of Pan-Africa? I think we did not succeed when you spoke about, it's like you used the analogy of slavery. One group is saying we are running, and another group is saying, where is the manifest if we are leaving the master's house? Okay, so what do you think is required, and what role will you play in, instead of just rhetoric, talk about action? What role will you play, or that you're playing now, that can help Africa to shape the future of Pan-Africanism all across Africa? Because the power is in our unity, 1.7 billion people, and we have everything. What's your thought?
Sure. I must say Pan-Africanism was hijacked and is misrepresented now. The spirit of greed came into it, where one man rises on a village and says, oh, I'm the master of this belief of Pan-Africanism. It's supposed to be in us. I am because we are, and we are because I am. But the so-called Pan-Africans of yesterday are the dictators who throw around the Pan-African card every time they're questioned about human rights violation, every time they're questioned about dictatorship, every time they're questioned about democracy and all that. Pan-Africanism is looking out for one another. Pan-Africanism is to make sure African niceness and African blessings and African wealth benefits Africans, not one African or one group of Africans trading with the West and presenting themselves as the Pan-Africans every time they are questioned about human rights, about democracy. So I strongly believe that Pan-Africanism is to ensure that Africa and its wealth works to transform and promote the livelihood of the people in Africa. Pan-Africanism is what the Chinese leaders are doing.
Oh, we just lost Bobby. Hope we can get him back. I think
While we're trying to get him back, the cash giveaway is on. And on this program, we're giving out money this evening. All you need to do is to dial star 799 star 799 star dial star 799 star 8 hatch Liberian dollars to win $4,000. If you're listening, play now. If you're listening, to be a part of now. I think he's going to be a part of it.
yeah, sure. He's going to come in and all of that.
So keep playing.
That we can just yes, go ahead.
Keep playing the cash giveaway. If you're watching through our live platform, we put it there. We pin it. The code that you are to use to play with. It is star 799 star 8 hatch star 799 star 8 hatch. And then use 100 Liberian dollars to play. Play as many times as possible so that you stand a better chance to win this afternoon.
Okay, so as we try to get Bobby back, he's trying to. So just so those of you just joining us, you're listening to the program Straight Talk Liberia on Voice of Liberia. We're live on 104.1 in Monrovia, 89.7 in Mangibi, 90.7 in Bong, 96.7 in Lofa, 95.6 in 95.7 in Grand Bassa. We're also live on www.voiceofliberiaradio.com. We're also live on Voice of Liberia Television. Just go on Facebook and you type Voice of Liberia TV, you will get us. We want to say thank you very much. Our guest tonight is Bobi Wine. He's the head of the major opposition political institution in Uganda. You've listened to some of the questions we've asked, and we'll continue. We're also going to have time for you, the listeners, to call in and make your input on the show, and we'll announce the numbers for you to call as soon as we get Bobby. Bobby is making efforts to come. We can see he's coming in and trying. For those of you out of the country, we have a WhatsApp number for you so that you can call in. And for those of you in Liberia, we have a number for you to call in. And we have a number for female callers as well. As soon as we get Bobby, for those of you watching, you will see he's back on. Bobby, you went off. Apparently, you.
I'm sorry I
Go ahead.
went off. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're live.
My apologies. Thank you. I was trying to make a point. I don't know if you got me well. When I was trying
No.
to say that Pan-Africanism in our generation should go beyond a word. It should be actions. What the leaders of the Chinese are doing to improve the lives of the Chinese, what the Indians are doing for the Indians, what the Japanese are doing for the Japanese is exactly what African leaders should be doing for the African people. That is what I will call Pan-Africanism. Anything less than that is fake, is deceit, is hypocrisy.
Okay, the next person, let's hear you, Delano Bryant.
Well, Bobby, I followed Uganda. There are three major problems in Uganda. One has to do with tribalism, has to do with corruption, it has to do with selfishness among the people themselves. It has to do with the equal distribution of wealth among the people of Uganda. Uganda has to be historically a great country in the East. Looking at you, a young man, 43 years old, the corruption is a mindset for the people. How can you change the mindset of our people of Uganda if you were president today? Against corruption, against tribalism, and then you need the few.
Thank you. I would not really say there is tribalism. The tribalism is among the leaders. It is engineered because it is also a tool to divide people. I'm glad that I belong to a generation that has outlived tribalism automatically. My wife comes from a different tribe, and this is so common with my generation that we have cross married. We share the same pain. The corruption affects us equally. It is unfortunate, but it also serves as the advantage that my generation lives in the peak of corruption that everybody can see it, therefore nobody will stand for it. So that corruption, we are only going to root it out by opening war against it. We have demonstrated that in the opposition while with the little mandate that we have, and we know that if we have the mediums to punish the corrupt, we shall do it. Corruption in Uganda is on an industrial scale to the extent that we lose a third of our collection, a third of our tax collection into corruption. Now that is too much. That can fix a lot, and that can only be dealt with when you have the power.
So we go to Anel.
Thank you very much, Sekou. You guys can hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Mothers are a primary source of reproduction and an important tool in structuring the population and also maintaining population growth. When you Leader Bobi Wine is elected president of Uganda, what insurance will you give to women when it comes to women inclusion in government? And what sure promise will you give to women and children when it comes to battling domestic violence and also abuse, including sexual abuse?
Well, we are not waiting to get into power to have a policy that empowers all people, including women and men. We don't look at women any different. We look at them as special. We have a policy of equality, equal rights, equal opportunities, and to have equity to ensure that men and women, boys and girls are the same, are treated the same, and have equal opportunities. That, of course, we go as far as attending to women's special needs in special times. I happen to benefit from the wealth of experience of my wife, who runs an NGO that intends to keep girls in school by providing them sanitary towels, knowing that that's the major cause of girls dropping out of school. So we want to educate the girl child at the same level with the boy child so that none of the genders has to complain. We have started on it even while we are in the position. We have a threshold of women leaders that we must not go below. That is what we believe in, because we know when you educate a woman, unlike a man, you're educating a nation. And that is a resource we want to tap into. And also, I happen to be, my friends call me a feminist. I'm not sure I'm one. I'm just passionate because I know the power of women and what they can do to a nation in terms of development, having been brought up by my mother and turning into everything I am, courtesy of my mother. So that I learned from experience, and is something that as a leader, hope to impart into a whole generation that I'll be leading.
Samara, please go.
Domestic, he did not address the part on domestic abuse and abuse in general when it comes to domestic violence and abuse in general when it comes to everything else, including sexual abuse.
Abuse is unacceptable. Why do we even have to discuss that? It is unacceptable. Anything that offends human dignity, whether man or woman, is absolutely unacceptable, and more or less on women. That is not something to discuss. It is unacceptable. We maintain dignity.
So
Okay.
how far will you go to battling that to make sure that comes to a stop? or at least is moderate?
No, there's no moderate. There's no gray line. It is unacceptable. Our women must feel safe with us. And it's an African thing. What kind of man, does not ensure or guarantee safety for his women and girls? So, like I said, that's not acceptable, and we would go to every height to ensure safety and dignity for our women and, of course, our men too.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me remind Liberians to keep playing the cash giveaway. We're giving out 4,000. Play with 100 Liberian dollars and be able to win yourself 4,000 Liberian dollars. Okay, now to you, Bobby Wine.
Yeah.
I want to know, all Liberians want to know, what lessons did you learn from the 2021 presidential election, both personally and politically? And to support that, do you believe that Uganda can ever experience a peaceful transition of power? If so, what will it take?
I learned that the powers that be are very scared of the people. I learned that it's actually possible to remove a dictatorship if people are more organized and more determined. But I also
Okay.
learned that we as Ugandans and we as Africans, we are on our own. Nobody is going to come from anywhere to save us. We'll have to save ourselves. And everybody else will come and say, we were rooting for you. But we have to do it ourselves. So those are lessons that I learned that I hope to carry going to 2026.
Bobby Wine,
It's possible.
Uganda goes to election. You've complained about almost everything happening in the country. Um, you see all of the things happening under the current president, Museveni, as things that are not in the interest of the people he governs. You have all of the support as we speak still coming from international partners. And yesterday you are complaining. Were you to be asked, Bobby Wine, what can you say to international partners? They're still doing business with the current government of Uganda, even though you are complaining that things are not, are not being carried out readily, constitution violation in the country, and some other issues you've mentioned.
Well, yes, that's a complaint that I've raised many times. I'll continue to raise it. But I thought I'd inadvertently answered the question before even it was asked, saying we are on our own, because indeed we are on our own. Numerously, we've raised this challenge, and I've told the Western powers to their faces that if they cannot help us, at least they should not be sponsoring our operation. In the past years, the United States government has been giving Uganda to the tune of $1 billion US every year, the biggest budget in sub-Saharan Africa, purportedly in military aid, but this is the money that is used to oppress us, to kill us. So literally, they are, in their actions, being partners in crime. And yet these are the same people that sing about human rights and democracy and the rule of law. So yes, we are on our own. The foreign powers seem to be on business. They seem to be on business, and if the dictators are the ones that are going to give them business, then they seem happy to defend their impunity and to defend mass murder. So we always call them out also, telling them not to continue enabling our oppression. Otherwise, the people of Africa will define them as neocolonialists.
How do you think, before we go and allow you to interact so that the public, those of the people listening, even those of the people in Uganda, we're going to announce the number or numbers if they want to call. How do you think, Bobby Wine, African countries can work together for the best? Because it is often said that the Western world, they get a lot of things from Africa, and at the end of the day, they give handouts to Africa, and it looks as if to say They are the one providing all of the support to African countries. You have been pushing for a lot of bad governance in Uganda, reaching out now to Africa. What do you think African leaders can do in terms of addressing some of the problems African countries are faced with in terms of the economy, in terms of the fight against corruption, in terms of the rule of law, and you can name the rest of them?
Well, I cannot reinvent the wheel. The problem of Africa has been diagnosed. Chinua Achebe in 1980 was asked the same question, and he said the problem of Nigeria and Africa are not the lakes, rivers, or the natural resources. It is about leadership. And 6 years later, General Museveni also diagnosed the same problem. And this was his analysis. The problem of Africa is not anything else but leaders that overstay in power. Because when a leader overstays in power, regardless of how good their vision was, they reduce the entire vision to staying in power, and everything else becomes secondary. They want to stay in power, and that will be the main preoccupation. So if we can be changing leadership, then leaders will be coming to serve their term, get some achievements, and move on to allow others. That is the only way we're going to foster democracy, to foster human rights, and to foster servant leadership.
Do you think anytime soon Uganda will experience the presidency of Bobi Wine? Is it possible anytime soon?
Yes, yes, it is possible. Mandela told us it always seems impossible until it's done. So I know it's going to be possible. And by the grace of God, one day you will invite me on this very platform, and I'll say, I told you.
And we're going to be referring to you as His Excellency Bobi Wine of
It
Uganda.
doesn't matter. I don't have to be president. I don't want to tie this whole agenda of me being president. You know, it's not about me becoming president. It's about my country breaking free from the shackles of dictatorship, whether by me, by anybody else. This struggle has not started with me. I was playing my music while other leaders were, you know, at it. And here I am. And I have to give my contribution. It is my hope and prayer that is under my leadership that my country will break free. But if it's not under my leadership, at least it must not be under my leadership that the struggle crumbled. It must not be under my leadership that there was betrayal. No, that will never happen. So we just have to keep going, putting one foot in front of the other and bringing as many people on board as possible so that, like I said, we together get our freedom, or we die trying to get it, and somebody else will on our behalf.
Okay, you're listening to the program Straight Talk Liberia on Voice of Liberia. We have as our prime guest today Bobi Wine. He's the major leader of the opposition in Uganda, an activist, a former musician, and someone that has been preaching, speaking about good governance and some other ills he claims in Uganda. We're going to go to the lines. And those of you in Uganda, those of you out of Liberia, other parts of the world, you can call us on this WhatsApp number so that you can also weigh in, make your contribution. We will appreciate you asking one question if you have, or maybe you want to say something and just straight to what we've discussed. +231 777 77 7926 +231 7777 77926. That's the WhatsApp line for those of you out of Liberia. You are watching us on the show, you are listening to us any parts of the world, and you want to ask our guest, Bobi Wine, a question pertaining to what we've discussed and we're discussing currently on the show. For those of you in Liberia, you can call us on 0773 978 564, 0773 978 564, or 0880 907 907, 0880 907 907. For those of you out of Monrovia, in all of the counties you're listening, you can call us on 0773 419 502, 0773 419 502, or 0555 184 711, 0555 184 711 are the numbers you can call. For the female callers, Samara going to announce a particular number for you people just for the show so that you can announce a particular number just for the female.
Okay, so the females can call on 0779 003835, 0779 003835. If any male call on this number, we will not take you.
No,
it's for females.
It is only for the females. So, Bobi Wine, we want you to have an interaction with the public. So we're going to take a few calls so that you can listen to what the folks they've got to say.
I appreciate.
Okay, so now we're gonna go. Let me just, for those of you out of the country, if you want to, you can also weigh in. Let me take this person here. Good evening.
Good evening, Secretary.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Your name and you join us from where?
So, thank you. My name is Saturday Nesta Wilson. I'm calling from Monrovia, Liberia. So, first, let me acknowledge the presence of Bobi Wine from Uganda on your show tonight, and my own brother, some of the Jacobs, one-time representative candidate in District 6. Presently, I'm excited to listen to such a discourse. Bobi Wine, he's a replication of the Pan-Africanism, and he's a direct Pan-Africanist in Africa. So, he's very, very inspiring and motivational to all the younger generation. And I think one of the questions you asked, which you responded to, which really got my attention, is this. He's not about Bobi Wine, he's about producing and multiplying a lot of Bobi Wines in Uganda, in Africa, and other parts of the continent. And that's very important to me. So that was...
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
This is Usman Kubo, and I'm filming from Johnsonville.
Okay, please go ahead, Usman. Usman, go ahead.
I think he left.
Okay, let me take this person here. Good evening.
Good evening, CEO People Sharif, and evening to my dear sister Samira. Let me say to all of the families and the guests, Mr. Bobi Wine. My name is Fode Mohammed Kako Ekubetukamien, and I join you from my district 11 resident in Power West. I really appreciate Bobi Wine. You see, Bobi Wine is one person of the politician that I respect so highly. That is a man who and be treated the way he was treated during the last election. I told somebody, I said, the way Mussolini treated Bobi Wine in the last election, placing his major container in behind bar, going to the election process, incarcerating him, giving all of the political suppression, and at the end of the day, he was pronounced winner. And that's just some of that could happen in Liberia, but now we have turned Liberia into a different state.
Okay, thank you. Let me go to the international line. This person. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, hello. Please go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm Israel DK Junior. I'm calling from one.
Calling from
Yeah,
Rwanda.
yeah, from Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to take this time. I just want to tell him that he keep on the fight. Therefore, is one for Africa, and I implore him to continue. And God bless you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Let me come to this line here. So we're gonna just take a few more calls. Hello. Let me take this person. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Uh, Hi, my name is Evan Scotio. Hello.
Yes, sir. You're live. Please go ahead. Just go ahead.
Right. My name is Evan Scotio. I call from Canada, and I am someone who has always been following Bobby.
Please go ahead. You're live. We're listening to you. He's listening to you.
And I follow him through the last elections, and I saw how the election violence took place during that elections, and things were very, very difficult. My question here is that what electoral reforms he has seen that are in place that he can trust for the upcoming elections, whether they will not be rigged as they were in the past.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good evening, CEO Sheikh.
Please go ahead.
And good evening to BOBI Wine of Uganda. I'm David E. Harris, Nakwa from Benson Street. Sir BOBI Wine, I always speak highly about the West. But my question to you, if and only if you become president of Uganda, will you silence the West and decide to work independently as Ugandans in your country to develop Uganda? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go to the international line. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Seiko. Thank you. My name is Ishmael Habib Rahim, and I'm calling you from France. And thank you to the panelists. My question to Mr. Wine, looking at his bold vision and the Pan-African ideology to elaborate Uganda and Africa at large. So my question is, if he become president, what his intent to collaborate or engage other African leaders that don't have the same vision that he have, that still want to live and be controlled by external power?
Okay. Thank you. Hope Bobby is listening, and he will.
Sure,
He
I'm
will.
listening in. I'm listening
Okay.
in. I was really intrigued. I thank those that are sending compliments, but I was intrigued by a question in which a brother said, I tend to speak highly of the West. That is not correct. I don't speak highly of
We
the West. I
we will
speak
come
truth.
there, Bobby. Bobby, we will. I just want you listening. There are a lot of calls. Let me go to the international sim. You will respond to them,
Sure.
please.
I
Okay.
wish we would make it interactive because I will forget some of the questions
Okay.
that I would
Hello.
have
So
loved
I thought
to
you were taking
put
notes so
respond.
that you could just take notes so that it helps.
Most obliged. Most obliged.
Yes, please. Because there are a lot of calls. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Franklin Morris. Calling from the state of Minnesota. First of all, I want to say thank you to you guys for bringing such a very important guy like BOBI Wine on tonight. And thank you, Comrade Samuel Jacob. You have been very eloquent tonight. Keep it up. So my question here is for Mr. BOBI Wine.
Please go
Hello?
ahead. He's listening. We are listening.
Okay, Mr. Wine. Given the persistent challenges to democratic space in Uganda, what strategy are you prioritizing to mobilize and sustain civil engagement, particularly among the young people who are exposing them to state violence in the coming election?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bobby is listening, he will respond to all of you questions. So we do it one after another. We come and take this other call here. The calls are many, but that's good. Let's get your participation. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Tickle Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is Mohammed Don on the journey.
Mohammed, sorry, let me let you go. You're coming very low. I don't know. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
My name is Joe Momo, and I'm from Daddy, district number 9.
Momo, you want to be audible?
I say I'm Joe Momo, running from district number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you for the show.
Okay. Okay. Let me take this. Let me go to the international sim.
Thank
Hello.
you so much. Thank you so much, sir, and for giving us this opportunity, most especially to the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Jaguar Sentamu Robert. We thank you for that opportunity because he cannot really get it in Uganda, just like the way you give it to him on this Voice of Liberia. I just want to.
What is your name, sir, please? And you are calling from where?
I'm in South Africa. I'm a refugee right now in South Africa. And my name is Banasura Nyondo. So I just want to assure our President, His Excellency Jaguar Sentamu Robert, that we shall never abandon him. Museveni, even if he does whatever human rights abuses that he does to us, we shall never abandon him. And we shall never abandon the struggle to liberate our mother. We just pray to God that He keeps on protecting our President, His Excellency Jaguar Sentamu Robert, aka BOBI Wine, until we remove evil devil terroristic group Museveni and his terroristic group. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us, making your contribution. So we now going to go to BOBI Wine. Please hold all of your calls. The calls are too many, local and international calls, but let's go to BOBI Wine so he can respond to a few of the issues you've raised, some of the questions. Bobby, you've listened to the callers, both local and international calls. What have you to say?
Thank you. Only appreciation for the compliments that have come through. And unfortunately, a few callers spoke, and the accent was so hard for me to comprehend. I could only hear my name, and then the rest of the words seemed not to be clear to me. My apologies. But those that have been able to get, as I was trying to respond much earlier, that a brother on call seemed to suggest that I speak highly of the West, which is actually not the case. I don't speak highly of the West. I don't look at the West as a solution. I don't look at running to the West as a solution for African problems. African problems must be solved in Africa by Africans. But how do you solve a problem? By looking up to its cause, what causes the problems. You realize that so much of the collaboration is actually neo-colonialistic. So much of the international collaboration is business and not value-based. These are people that sing human rights and democracy and the rule of law, but they're hobnobbing with dictators. I've raised this complaint many times. I have had the rare opportunity to speak to audiences, to speak to people that matter. And what I always do is to call them out, to ask them to stop being the enablers of, extrajudicial killings and injustice and oppression in Africa. Many of them do that in exchange for business. So for as long as the dictators give them what they want, they really don't care about the rights of the people here in Africa. That we condemn it, and we've always been calling out the West about the same. So it is not really holding them in high regard, but we know that the budget supports and the purported development projects are what keep the collaboration between Western democracies and African dictatorships. And that is double standards. That is wrong. we condemn it, because if the regimes in Africa, the oppressive dictatorships, did not have support and legitimacy from the West, then they would not stand the heat of the day. Another asked me, still a West related question, says, will I also be taken over by the West like it seems to be happening with, you know, with the leaders that tend to rise? Most of the leaders that rise up in Africa are very quickly co-opted by the West. Case in point was General Museveni. He was so conservative and was socialist when he came to power, but we all saw how quickly he transformed in order to realign with World Bank and IMF and all that. That is not our problem. Our issue here, and there's a book that I co-authored, it is called Expensive Poverty, that we wrote together with, that was written by Dr. Greg Mills, and I just offered some support to it. But this book outlines that the wealth of Africa is actually the cause of its poverty. It's because of our wealth that we are impoverished. In order for that wealth to be taken away, the gold, the oil, name it. So under new leadership, under a Pan-African leadership, it should not be aid, it should be collaboration, it should be business. So we intend to relate with the rest, and indeed with the rest of the world. But we want to do that on principle, on mutual benefit, under mutually respectful terms, and most importantly, it should be collaboration, it should not be aid. Another brother asked me, under the circumstances of Uganda, how we hope to achieve an awakening that might lead to a popular uprising. I would say that for people to stand up and fight, they must be educated and know what they're fighting for. We are glad that by now, majority of our countrymen and women have been awakened. Now, what we need to do is to take it a step higher, to show them what they're fighting for, send them to polls, let them see it clearly that they have chosen one leader, but another is imposing themselves on them. Then after that, everything will happen naturally. It happens within a highly sensitized and awakened population, and that is what we hope to do. Finally, a brother from Uganda who is in South Africa in a refugee camp, I only send you love, I send you warm greetings, I send you confidence, and I'll tell you that one day everything's going to be all right. You're going to be home. You will not have to run away from your country ever again.
Okay, thank you for all of the calls, Bobby Wine. We want to say thank you very much. Is there anything or message you want to say to your people in Uganda and to those of the people listening to you now and watching you on the television that you want to talk about? I wouldn't ask you as we part ways with you.
Well, I would just say thank you. Thank you very much for this platform to make our case, to make a case for Uganda, to shine a light on the plight of the people of Uganda. We appreciate. We know there are many other Africans that are going through the same. We send you love, we send you solidarity. Don't give up. Let us connect. It's important that we don't fight in isolation. It's important that all oppressed people come together and fight back, because guess what? It can be done. So let's stick together. Let's be Africans. Let's be children of Africa, but let's be Africa of the future. Let's think of our posterity, our children and their children, and that way we shall make the right decisions that we shall be proud of. Thank you very much. I send greetings to fellow Ugandans, those that are fighting for better, and I'm telling you that one day everything's going to be all right.
Bobby Wine, before you go, they say a musician is always a musician. You want to get it there quick? A teacher is always a teacher. Do you want to sing one of your songs that you you produce in Uganda? Our producer is trying to do this, but I think it's late. It was a song you did way back then. I wanted to get the name of the song. Can you just give us a little lyrics of that song? You call it in your local dialect where you can see this. I don't know. Let me just do it. Even though our producer should have done it.
I think it's Wendy.
Wendy, eh?
Wendy.
Wendy,
Yes,
something
Wendy.
Wendy.
Something.
Yeah, well, I love now that I'm speaking to people that don't understand my local dialect. I would, since I'm an artist, I'll just give a little a cappella for you, just to sound off.
Okay.
And I'll say, our people complaining night and day. They wonder why we continue to live this way. But I know that things can change someday. If we really want them to change anyway, Africa is a land of abundance, but the Africans living in deficiency. The leaders want life presidency. We must abandon that silly tendency. Africa rich, but the African poor, because the leaders them drunk on power. They run nation like family affair. The citizens suffer, but they don't care. Boom. Blessed love, you don't know. Voice of Liberia. This is Bobby Wine. Saying,
Thank you very much, Bobby One. It has been a
thank you
great
very
time.
much, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you, Bobby
hope to
Wine.
have these kinds of conversations in time to come. Thank you. That is it. We want to say thank you, gentlemen. Let's do what you guys made of the interview. Let's just get in few seconds, and then we'll move ahead to something else. Yeah, let me get your. Let me go to Delana Bryant. What's your what you made of the interview with Bobby Wine?
You know, it was
Papaya.
excellent. And
Yeah.
are you there?
Yeah. Yes, I'm here. Go ahead, my brother.
It was excellent. Honestly, it was excellent. And I just been looking at the comments in the comment section, and I love this guy. You know, his posture and the way he talk. He's very relaxed. You can see that he believes in the cause, and you can see the honesty in his face. You know, when I met